I just watched the first part, and then the second one to come on was Judy Russell, and I watched her.
Yes.
So
I'll go anywhere to hear Judy Russell.
Me too. Me too.
it was very, very
Yeah. She's always good. And David Rencher, I think, was the first speaker. The one thing I didn't care for on this thing was they didn't give us any break to even like get up and go to the bathroom. I mean,
they were too close together.
Yeah. But David Rencher is over Family Search, and so he's always interesting to me to talk to. And so that was fun as well. And I kept having to get off because of my work, so I missed out on several of the sessions. So I'm looking forward to the on-demand, which I believe is supposed to be available on the 15th, as well as the vendor hall. So I'm excited to see those. So the FGS, the Federation of Genealogical Societies, I think is the right
Yes.
term, and it had its annual conference, and it was the last conference for just it and the National Genealogical Society are merging, and so from now on there'll be one combined. The FGS focuses more on societies and helping them with education and different venues, and the National Genealogical Society is focused more on the individuals. So they're going to combine their efforts and make one organization, which I think will be beneficial to everyone because they'll be able to use their resources across the board rather than split them up. And FGS in the past has always done an annual conference. They did do a combined one with Roots Tech one year, which was crazy if you were there at that because there were so many people there. But that was my first introduction to a national level teaching. I attended the FGS cruise a few years back to Alaska. It was the first time I heard Judy Russell, David Rencher, Elizabeth Schoen Mills, and it was a smaller group because we were on a cruise and it wasn't as large a conference. But once I got that taste of those national speakers, I was like, okay, I'm on board. Just tell me where else to go to hear them. So that being said, now I try to go to the Salt Lake Institute of Genealogy. They all teach at that, or I try to go to GRIP, which is usually in Pittsburgh, and then there's also IGHR, which is in Athens, Georgia, and they all have that same group of national teachers. One of the ones that I wanted to mention to the group was Paula Stewart-Warren. And she's been around forever, and she does more of a kind of an intermediate education, more of a well-rounded kind of session where she's covering lots of resources instead of just focusing on one in the institutes. So her class was the first one I took at SLIG when I attended it, and it was a great kind of get my foot in the door and see if I was going to be able. I kind of felt like I wasn't up to the level of a researcher to attend a national institute like that. So taking that kind of intermediate class let me know that, hey, I am up here where, I need to be to attend these classes. So she's a great, and I know that she does lots of sessions on the legacy webinars. Let me share my screen, and I have clipped out some things to show you guys.
What was her last name? Paula Stewart.
Paula Stewart-Warren.
It's hyphenated.
Okay.
So I wanted to talk about Legacy Family Tree webinars. They are a pay site, but it's $25 a year. It may have gone up. Has it gone up?
Yeah, it's gone up.
Okay. I usually pay for my subscription the day after Thanksgiving on Black Friday. I always buy another year's worth and get it much cheaper. But the education that you can get from this website is great. I mean, you can these are the upcoming free webinars that they have, and you can register for them and listen to them live. And then if you're a member of the group, then you get to go back and listen to some of the ones that are recorded and in their library. And they have a really, really large library of every topic you can imagine. And so this is what's upcoming for September. Cindy Ingles, always fun to listen to. She's responsible for Cindy's list. I saw her many years ago in Oklahoma City at an OGS conference, and her list is completely free, and she handles it all by herself. She doesn't have any help at all. That's all her, everything on that site, all those links. So, and she knows about timelines. She knows about all kinds of other things that she teaches on. There's a ton on this website for DNA. Anytime you can listen to Blaine Bettinger, he's great to talk about DNA. He's very, very good at teaching. Diane Southard, she's great to listen to for DNA. I'm not familiar with this Ann Young, but I think I would like to listen to her and see what she has to say. And this site doesn't just cover U.S. research. I mean, they'll have people talking about European research, Canadian research, Hispanic research. So it's not limited to just our U.S. boundaries.
Oh, good.
Of course, Mark Lowe has lots of sessions on them to listen to. In October, you can see there's Blaine Bettinger and Roberta Estes, who is definitely an expert in the DNA field. Our favorite, Judy Russell.
Yep.
Jill Morelli, she does some different groups. I did a group thing, I took a group session thing with her where she talks about the Certified Genealogist program. And she basically walks you through the parts of the test, everything you need to know, and you get samples to look at, you do lessons, and it's a class to see if you're interested in doing the program. It's not just for people that already know they want to. I was doing it to see if I thought that I wanted to, and after I took that course, I decided it wasn't for me.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, what I do with my research, I think the time and commitment it takes to become certified is not a commitment I want to make right now. So, I decided to pass on it after I took that group. Angela Packer McGee is awesome. She also talks about land records. She does some of the practicum courses at some of the institutes, and that's where basically they give you some information, and you have to go out and work the research based on that. It's kind of interesting at SLIG. You go in, they give you a packet of information, and you go back to your hotel room and you stay in your hotel room researching all day long.
Wow.
And you come back the next morning and report whatever homework assignment that you had, and then they give you the next one and you go do that one that day. So it's a very intense course. I have sat in her classes at GenFed, where she talks about land records, and I was writing as fast as she was talking because she was telling me where to look for all these land records and how to find them. And so I was filling out slips to order the records as she was speaking. So she's a great one. Paul Woodbury on DNA is a very fun teacher. I think one of the SLIG courses that he taught, they all had these balloon hats that he made for them because he's an expert balloon maker, but they all kind of look like DNA the way they were made. So it was a very fun class. They all talked about how much fun they had in that. I'll put these links too in the chat for the different pages I'm going to show. So, but again, keep an eye, just go out and check. If you don't want to join legacy webinars, keep a link and go out and check periodically and attend some of these for free and see if you like them and if you're interested in paying to actually have a subscription to the site. I can tell you that you can't go wrong with their classes. Family Search offers lots of free classes, and I just downloaded their schedule, which, you know, the pandemic has been so hard for us all on different avenues, but for online classes, it's been great because everybody's going online and offering that capability. I have a home church that I was raised in, and actually my cousin's the preacher there now, and he's on Facebook Live, which just cracks me up every time I see him because I'm like, that's so funny to me that he's actually letting them videotape him and put him on Facebook Live. So it's been great for the online education. And these are the schedules for September. These classes are always free through Family Search. And when I send you this link, if you click on yes, I think it will take you directly to the registration process for them. I also did October. I've taken a few of these classes when I've actually been in Salt Lake City. Like when I've gone to SLIG, they offer some of these classes in the evening. And they're great because they're working with these records and they're usually very specialized to what they're talking about. Another place to go and look for online education right now is Cindy's List. And she has a ton of links and you can go and you can click. She has BCG webinars, which Legacy Family Tree webinars, they also do the BCG webinars. So sometimes you'll see that on their site. It'll say it's a BCG webinar, and that's the Board for Certification of Genealogists. They do their own classes. Some of these will be paid, some of them will be free, but you can go through here and click on any of these links and see what you like. This National Archives, I usually watch the NARA site, or I subscribe to their links so that I learn about their presentations they put on online. And what I love about the NARA presentations, it's always an expert that's dealing with those records every day that's usually doing the presentation. So you find out little tidbits that an average person's probably not going to know about. And they're always very free with their materials. Their handouts are always available where you can get them anytime. They're not really copyrighted because they're made by the federal government. And they usually give their email address so that you can contact them afterwards with questions, which I think is always very helpful if you have a subject matter expert and you want to get straight to those questions. Let's see what else I have up here. Oh, I put the OGS's website on here because they have some upcoming things. These do cost. This one actually is tomorrow, starting tomorrow. It's a 3-part series by Mike Birdsong. Mm-hmm. And this one is $55 for members. Then they have the regular monthly meetings. Again, the pandemic's really helped me out about this because I can never make it to Oklahoma City by 6 o'clock on a Monday night to attend their meetings. So I kept asking about them doing online, allowing us to attend through a Zoom or some kind of online service. And so with the pandemic, they've really started doing that more, which is great for me. The Virtual Genealogical Association is something that's relatively new to this organizational group. They offer lots of education. It's going to be the same type of speakers as Legacy Family Tree webinars. The yearly membership for this organization is $20. It's Catherine Wilson is the person that's responsible for getting this group started. And they have some great speakers and things as well. And on this page, I think I have what they have coming up. They've got Tamara Hallow on how to get the most out of FamilySearch.org. And I watch these type of things, even if I'm very familiar with FamilySearch.org, because I always pick up something that I didn't know or that I'd forgotten. And it's the same thing with Ancestry. If you want to learn about Ancestry.com, listen to Krista Cowan. She does there's lots of her sessions on YouTube, and she's out there all the time. She's got a blog as well, and she's the barefoot genealogist. And yes, when she's at a conference and she's speaking, she is barefoot on the stage. But I've attended some of her sessions repeatedly. And I'm like, I know most of this stuff, but there's always something that I either forgot or I didn't know to begin with. And she also gives you updates on what might be new to the pages that you haven't learned about as yet. Here's one on writing your ancestors' biographies. I think that's someplace where I'm lacking, is actually doing writing. So I would definitely I'll probably try to attend that one right there if I can get away from the grandkids long enough. Annette is great. She started teaching a lot recently. She does some Quaker stuff that's really good. So if you have Quaker research, she's a good one to listen to. She's doing some courses at some of the institutes now, so check her out. And then if you join this association, they also have a catalog of some of their previously presented sessions that you can go back to and look at for a certain amount of time. Anybody have any questions? There's no end to the online classes that you can look for and do right now with genealogy education. If you just go out and Google, there are a ton of them.
Right.
I'm trying to get my screen to come back up so I can see you guys. Anyway, there's lots and lots and lots of them, and I'm always happy if you have questions about a particular speaker. Everybody learns differently, and I have taken courses from teachers before and didn't learn very much from them, and somebody else would walk in and say, that's the greatest teacher I've ever heard. And so we all learn differently, and that's why it's great that there's so many online opportunities right now.
Well, if you look at chat, Linda Morgan's just put on there that they've used to use a few of the family tree webinars. And I was going to ask you, hate to interrupt, but Linda, do they let you do that during?
Yes, they've given us written permission.
And do you have to still pay?
I've only had one that asked us to pay at a discounted rate. We've not abused the privilege, but that's how we got kind of started trying to have some virtual society meetings. And I have one whose name I will not tell you. She said you can have anything that I put on Family Tree Maker absolutely free. So,
shucks.
I don't want to abuse that one. But
we won't.
I think she has 13 webinars.
Mark Lowe is good about that too, isn't he?
I don't know. Sue probably
so.
knows that better than I do.
I think Mark
I don't
Lowe.
know about his legacy webinar. I don't know if he asked for money for that or not.
Well, he usually, in his conferences, he's always said that, you know, if you just contact him, that he'd let you use them. So you might check him out.
He probably would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He is such a great storyteller to listen to. I love to listen to him. Another great storyteller is John Coletta. He is one of those that you're just mesmerized by listening to him. I've seen him in several evening sessions. I've never taken a course from him, but several of the evening sessions for some of these institutes he's taught at. And I'm just mesmerized. I'm like sitting there, on the edge of my chair saying, when's he going to tell us what happens in this situation? There's one, and it was about some ice on the Missouri River, I think it was. And there was somebody that was actually out on that ice and kind of got stranded. And so I'm like thinking, because the way you wrote his story, he kind of goes around after he's got him out there. He's like kind of goes around with the story. And so I'm like, yeah, but what happened to him? Is he still out on the ice?
Have you read his book?
I have not read his book, but I'm sure it's...
The book is the same way as how he talks, is that you are like mesmerized by the story he's telling, and you can't wait to get on and find out what happened.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a good writer.
Yeah.
And speaker.
He is definitely, and of course, one of the ones that I didn't mention, which I should be shot for not mentioning, is Tom Jones.
Oh yeah.
He is just a master with genealogical proof and documentation. And if you want to be a really good researcher and document your research appropriately, listening to him and getting his books and using those as a format is a great way to go. I took his course, Mastering Genealogical Proof, the year before last in Salt Lake City, and it was the last year he was teaching that course there. So I was super happy. I said, I'm kind of a groupie for teachers. I just find out when's the last time they're going to teach a course, and that's when I take it. So I took his then, and I took CC Moore, of course, at when she was up at Buffalo, New York for GRIP, and it was the last time she was going to teach a week-long course. And so I was like, sign me up. If it's the last time, sign me up. My last course at SLIG was Barbara Vines Little, and she's an expert on Virginia research, and she's amazing too. And they said it was her last time to teach it 3 years ago, I think, and they talked her into coming back and teaching it again this last January. And so I took it then from her. So again, I'm just following them around saying, what are you done? Is that the last time? Because I'm going to take your class.
Yeah.
So,
have you ever heard of Michael Lacapo?
I have not taken any of his classes, but I heard he's wonderful.
He is really good. You could see the people following him at the conference from one classroom to whichever. It was just like this big parade, wherever he went, here was this, 100 people behind him waiting for him to talk again.
I will say a couple of other ones that I have taken is Pam Sayer, and she's a great teacher. She's doing a Missouri course at SLIG this coming year, and her husband, Rick Sayer, and they've actually come to Tulsa and spoke at one of the Tulsa Library deals a few years ago. And I will say this about Rick. I think he should be called Machine Gun Sayer, because he is going to give you rapid fire information. It is rapid fire.
Don't think you can write something down because there's not time.
Yeah, he is so full of military and land and all of that, but it is coming at you fast and hard. So, and I love his classes. I usually take them if they're available, and I don't have something else going on. So I love both of them. But yeah, there's no end to great teachers kind of out there right now, traveling and teaching these classes.
Well, from the looks of the lineup at FGS, looks like there's a lot of new ones coming on.
Yeah, I think we are seeing some newer faces come in and some younger people. not last year, but the year before at SLIG, they had a speaker one evening for the evening session. I think his name's Rick Vin something. I'll have to look it up. Valencia. And it was like the tapestry of genealogy or whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be bored to tears in that. But I went anyway, and it was great. And I actually wrote a blog post because they encourage you to write blogs. And so I wrote a blog post on it for SLIG, and then I won free or early sign up for the next year for my blog posts.
Oh, wow.
So,
ooh, that's nice.
So I was happy about that. And, but I really enjoyed his session, and he's a young guy. Paul Woodbury's, got little bitty kids, and I've seen them with him at these institutes, at the hotel or whatever. So I like that younger generation getting involved. And I think the DNA is encouraging more younger people because they like the science part of it as well as the genealogy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a great benefit.
Stephanie, I think you had your hand raised, didn't you?
No, thank
Oh, you didn't? Well, tell us about, she went to, you're looking at the BU program, the Brigham Young, or what is it? No.
Boston.
Boston University.
Boston University. Okay. Well, and Michelle is thinking about that too. Or you just went to it, didn't you?
Yeah, I did the 15-week one thinking, I've been doing genealogy for 25 something years. I got this. Yeah, it was more intense than I thought, but I learned a lot.
That's good.
So you thought it was worth the money that you paid for the course?
I do. Yeah, I think that I probably in hindsight would have taken the 4-week course first.
Mm-hmm.
But since I thought I knew it all, one.
Yeah.
I learned a lot, and we had a lot of great, like Michael was one of our facilitators, and Melissa Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lots of great people with different backgrounds and different experiences. So it was good to have those conversations with them, but learned a lot. Still have a lot to learn.
All right.
I will say too, this
or in person.
I'm sorry.
Was that an in-person course?
No, it was all virtual.
Oh,
yeah. I think they do that anyway. Besides COVID, I think it's an online program.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I'll say that the genealogy community, when you start taking these courses and meeting people, like if you've done, oh no, I'll never think of it, ProGen, or any of those, you make friends that you have from now on. I have people that I talk to on a regular basis. That I have one friend that's in Minnesota. I met her at SLIG. We have another friend in Idaho that we met at SLIG. I've got several friends from GenFed when I took that, and we've stayed in touch, and we still, we're friends on Facebook, and we message back and forth. And they're also, those relationships help you when you go to research in those other places that you're not familiar with. Somebody to reach out to and say, hey, you know anybody I could talk to about this? Or, is this something you could help me with? I think those kind of relationships are super important.
No, that's what we need.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were talking about that today on Lunch Bunch with Linda and Sue, that even the people that are on that group, that they need to set up a time when we can just listen to them too. Like Robert, Robert's
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Robert.
So he's helping.
We learned more about the National Archives today because of him.
Well, that's right.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. One of them I did not mention is but I have mentioned before, is the Ozark Genealogical Society. They are putting some sessions on Facebook Live now that you can watch live or go back and watch. And they have Patty Hobbs, who is a really good DNA person. And she either speaking generally or she's the one setting it up. And I actually volunteered to teach or do a presentation on the Civil Conservation Corps in January for them. After one of the sessions, somebody asked about the civil conservation, and Patty said that would be a good session. And so I messaged and said, I've already got one worked up. And so they scheduled me.
Oh,
so,
cool.
You're going to do it for us too, aren't you?
I am doing it for you, for TGS as well. Yeah.
In November.
Yeah, definitely. I'm super excited about talking about it because I'm very passionate about it, and I can't wait to share my info with this about the CCC with everyone. So, the other thing I was going to say, I found a new place to find books and things for my library, and it's estate sales. And if you've never gone to estate sales, it's kind of, they're usually listed with garage sales or whatever, but they kind of have a little different format. They usually, the first day everything's full price, and the second day is 25% off whatever price they've listed, and then the last day is usually 50%, and if you wait late in the day, they'll even probably discount it more than that.
Right.
But I found a ton of yearbooks through that, and generally by the end of day 3, they're willing to just give them to you to get them gone if they've still got them. But I've also found quite a few county books, things like that, that I thought were great for my library that I've picked up at estate sales. And there's a place in Oklahoma City that I just went to this last weekend. I think it's actually Edmond. It's called Archives Books. And it's a used book place, and they have it all separated out onto different types of books. But they had a row on history books, and you could pick out like 5 books for free.
Wow.
And I only found 3 that I was interested in. I mean, they're constantly, their inventory is circulating depending on who takes what. But I was like, sure, I'll take 3 books for free. But I did buy a couple of books off another row that wasn't free. But it was a good place to check. And I think they sell also on like eBay and Amazon, some of those places, some of their more expensive books they list there. So you never know where you're going to find some resources at.
Does Gardner's have a lot of history stuff?
I have never been to Gardner's, but I was planning to go. That was one of them I was going to check out.
I've been in there, but not for genealogy. My husband goes there a lot, so we'll have to check that out. But I bet he does, because they've been in business for years. He died, but the children.
They used to have a shelf up towards the front of the store. I don't know. They've rearranged things. I don't know if that's still where it is, but it was labeled genealogy, but there was very seldom much there. It was kind of like books on how to do genealogy. Wasn't really historical kind of stuff.
Instructional books.
Yeah.
I was looking more for like city directories, these county books, like, Ottawa County book, the big thick books, which a lot of those stores want, $100, $150 for those books online. And so that's the type of books I was kind of looking for. And of course, I always like Facebook Marketplace.
Stephanie's going to have to leave us.
Bye, Stephanie.
Sorry.
Thank you for the information.
All right.
I wish I could say, but.
Well, save the chat and you'll get what we've gotten so far.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.
All right.
Facebook Marketplace, I look on there occasionally. I bought one.
That's a good one too.
Big book for Barber County, Kansas the other day off Facebook Marketplace. So you never know where you're going to find those resources. Does anybody have any classes scheduled or webinars already registered for you're getting ready to take besides the FGS classes?
It's going to take a while to get through FGS.
I know, right?
I signed up for SLIC. I have the advanced DNA class that starts on the 24th through SLIG.
Okay.
And then I'm also have 2 classes in the SLIG Academy that starts in February.
Okay, so who's the course instructor for the DNA?
You would ask me that. I think Stephanie McGee, or McGee. I can't think of her
Oh,
first.
Angela?
Yeah, she's the main one, and then they have a lot. I think I can't. I just looked at it today, but I can't think of everybody who was in there. But
in those institutes, there's generally at least 2 instructors that you see during them, but I've had some of those classes that they had like 6 to 8 different instructors. They just trade out sessions and go back and forth. So
you're 7.
Yeah. What's your classes you're going to take in the other part of it, the academy?
The academy, one of them is teaching genealogy.
Okay.
And then the other one is about writing, because that's my weak point.
Yeah, I'm taking the teaching one, I think. I think that's the one I've signed up for too.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
Great. Very excited. So, another guy that teaches at some of these institutes is Josh Taylor. And he's very, very good. And he knows the New York northeastern coast area really well. I mean, that's his specialty, the New England area.
Oh, okay.
Anybody else have any upcoming webinars they're doing or classes?
The NYGND has one, a whole conference. It's the end of this week, actually.
Right.
Are you going to attend?
Yeah, I've already signed up for that. Not free, however, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah,
but I've got a lot of relatives in the Hudson Valley area, and there's going to be several things I'm interested to take, listen to.
Yeah. NARA gives a virtual conference generally in October. The National Archives. Let me see if I can find that link right quick of when that's going to be.
I've got it right here, I think.
You do?
I think so. Hold on just a second. Because I looked it up just a few minutes ago. Joshua Taylor's going to be doing what they call poolside chat with the Florida State Genealogical Society.
Okay.
They've got really good free first time and then the copies after that. So let's see, where is the national? Well, that's not it. If you find it before I do, go ahead. Here we go. They call it the Genealogy Fair. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes,
yeah.
that is
okay.
the one.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. I've learned a ton from those virtual, the NARA Genealogy Fair, and it's free. And like I said, their presentations are usually more than happy for you to take them. And I have seen their personal email addresses on there at work for almost every speaker. So, and it's been helpful to me when I was like researching WPA records or military records in St. Louis, because I had a person's name to check with and ask questions. So I don't think that resource should definitely be overlooked. That's a great one.
If I might toot our horn, we have a whole page in our website of virtual education links.
Great.
So I put that link in the chat too.
Okay. I was also we had this discussion a while back when we were on one of the classes with Sue about the Facebook group that lists all of them, all of the Facebook groups. And yeah, okay. I pulled out just what groups are for Oklahoma. And let's see if I just uploaded that file to the.
I did that too.
Yeah.
Just pulled out Oklahoma separately so I could just focus on that.
That gets a little overwhelming.
It does. I actually when I looked through the list earlier today to find those, I noticed there was a Florida link in the Oklahoma section. And I emailed Catherine and said, hey, here's one that needs to go in the Florida section so that she could fix that.
It's
I just uploaded October twice.
Florida mixed up.
Well, in her defense, it was an Indian name.
Oh, yeah.
It
was. I saw that.
It was like Okalaska or something. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not in Oklahoma County.
We have a meeting coming up. We're going to try to do our separate September meeting online. And it's going to be Kay Little, who lives in Broken Arrow, and she's going to be talking about Ellis Island. And so that's going to be on Monday the 21st, and which is our third Monday's our regular meeting night. So if y'all would like to sign up, you can go to our website and sign up for that. It's our general meeting. So hope we'll be good. This will be our first time to try to do a meeting, so we'll see how that goes.
What time will that be?
It'll be at 6:30, I believe. And supposedly this is a really good presentation. I've not ever heard her, but she did it at the, I'm going to mess it up again, the Latter-day Saints. I always say LSD instead of LDS. So.
Sometimes I feel like I'm on LSD.
Yeah.
But doing research.
Yeah, she did a presentation at that in this last year. Well, anybody else have anything to share? Michelle, I'm awfully glad that you joined us. I didn't realize that you were into genealogy that much and taking those courses. So
I'm planning to get my BCG certification, but I'm going to wait a minute because that class was intense. So
yeah.
You might try Jill Morelli's group that she has, and it's kind of evening sessions or whatever for so many weeks. I think it was 6 weeks. And it was not very expensive, but she really takes you, and they have 3 different sets of papers. They have one lady that did super well on the certification, and they have one lady who said she just passed it by the skin of her teeth, basically that shared their materials with you so you can see how they did. And I thought it was really helpful to be able to understand the parts and what was expected.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. There's so many pieces to it, and it's like making sure I understand. And they kind of tell you, work on it before you apply, because once that clock starts, you got a year to finish it.
Yeah. But you can always get it extended, and you have to be very careful about letting anybody review or doing anything with that research you're working on. And that's one thing they kind of go over is, it's always nice to have somebody else look over your work and kind of give you their opinion of it to you. But in this situation, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So, and you can't, there's things like you can't use the same family or the same thing for different parts of it. So, yeah.
And I'm on the wait list for a ProGen study group, so hopefully.
So now the ProGen thing is just 1 year, right? It's not 18 months anymore?
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm in an NGSQ study group.
Okay.
Right now.
Who's your leader of your NGSQ study group?
I want to say Leslie, somebody.
Okay.
I didn't do any of August because we were still in class, so.
That's somebody else that we didn't mention was NGS has courses that you can take. They're kind of at your own speed. They recently, and Angela Packer-McGee is now over the education piece of NGS, and they just added one on 1812 military research, which I've considered doing myself. But those courses are good too, because you can go at your own pace. And another, there's a couple more people I wanted to mention on military research. One of them is Craig Scott. Is that right? Is that his name? He's very intense. He's very intense. He knows his stuff, but he's very intense.
Okay.
And Jennifer Hollick, I saw her at a Roots Tech conference, and she's amazing with the military research, and told me all about individual deceased personnel records, which I didn't know about. And so I was super happy after I took her class, because I had some people that were actually killed when they were in the service, and those records did not burn. So we were able to get those records, but had no idea that the one thing that makes the government hard to order things for, I always worked with attorneys, and when we would ask for records from the other parties, it's everything, you list all these things and say, we want everything. So in my mind, that's what you do when you order records for genealogy. You say, hey, federal government, I want you to give me all the records about this guy. I want you to include all correspondence, all yada, yada, yada. And their records don't work that way. You have to know what location to order them from, what form to use to order it with. And sometimes there are 2 or 3 different forms to get the records at that one location, like St. Louis. There's burial records that requires a different form. There's the military, the people that were in the military and got out but didn't pass away in the service. And then there's a different set of records for the ones that got killed when they were in the service. And then there's other records for people that weren't in the service but worked for the government. So,
all right.
Yeah, so it gets really complicated. So those military experts are very, very helpful when you can focus in on what you're looking for from them.
Yeah. If you have a subject that you would like to do in these research virtual desks, then you type it into the chat so that Annette can look at them and see. Have you thought about anything for next month?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not thought of anything for next month, but I am open to suggestions. If there's a topic you want to talk about, very, very open to anything. So,
anybody have a suggestion right on the top of your head? Y'all just want to know everything about everything, don't you? All right. Well, does anyone else have anything to share? This has been very informative. I've really liked it, and got some good information. I was talking on the lunch bunch today about my father. He was in the Merchant Marines, and I've never known anything about him. And so Robert was quite helpful. So hopefully we'll get him on here next month, because he's very good at military stuff too, and he can help us. So if you think of anything, then let me know, or let Annette know. Do they have your, well, they'll have your, you've given it before. You want to put your email address in there?
I'm happy to.
In the chat.
One of the things I thought about that y'all might think about is something like what Mark Lowe did at the Friends of the Library things that I went to, is he sent you some information, and then you were supposed to go out and do some research on the information and see, and then bring it to the meeting to talk about what everybody found. And so, we could try something like that. People could submit maybe some research issue they're having or question, and beforehand, and we could all kind of look at it and see what we could come up with.
I like that. Yeah.
And talk about where we looked. I think that the Paula Stewart Warren, that's one of the things she does in her class. And there were 40 people in the class, and I was amazed by how many different places people looked for records and where they went to find the information.
Yeah.
So
you want to come up with an idea? You want to come up with something? Or do you want us to?
I tell you what, everybody kind of if you think of something you'd be interested in, so it's worthwhile for somebody in the end, rather than just research that nobody's going to use later. I'm happy to look at them.
Okay.
Or we can come up with just anything.
All right.
So
we're still doing
okay.
calls or anything.
Yeah.
So if you have a research question,
yeah,
let us know. Okay. Well,
all right.
I think we're headed for a good night, and enjoy your ice cream for this next month. And I'll come up with something else for the next poll. So
right.
See y'all. Remember, we have our meeting on the 21st. I hope you'll come and enjoy that. We also do a water cooler on the first and third Thursdays at 2. And then the Muskogee group does the lunch bunch. And you can let Sue know if you'd like to be on that. Are y'all still doing your other? Or
Yeah, we still have, well, we don't have our conversations right now.
okay.
My schedule got overloaded, so we pulled back on that one. Our
meeting.
society meeting, though, yeah, our society meeting will, excuse me, be on the 4th Thursday at 6 o'clock. And it'll be Michael John Neal with Beginning German Research.
Good.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that'd be good.
That's the 24th.
24th.
Uh-huh.
There's a
Thursday.
link. Yeah, it's a link to register on our website, right on the front page.
Okay, great. We've got.
Well, I'll look forward to that one.
Yeah, that'd be good.
He's a good speaker too.
Good. Well, thanks for all coming. Let's go down to the reactions and tell Annette how much we appreciate her.
I enjoyed seeing everyone and talking to you guys.
You go down there and you click on the clapping hands or the thumbs up. There's a
Well, they've got more of them than that.
Yeah, that's with the update. So
yeah.
Yeah, good. All right, and check on your updates because they're adding new things all the time to help improve Zoom. And
They sure are.
yeah, and
Yeah,
there's a fun
helps
thing
with
in
the
there.
security.
There's a fun thing in there. They've put a bunch of filters in there, and you can put
Oh,
the filter on your
great.
screen.
Great.
Wear a hat. So check them out. We might have some fun with some next week. So bye. Oh, I'll see you girls and boys. Bye bye.
Okay.